All right, well, it's the spooky season, if you couldn't tell from our opener, and we're going to be doing Halloween-themed reviews every Thursday this month. And I wanted to go back to a Ghostbuster prop because it's been a while since we did a Ghostbuster prop. Love Ghostbusters on this channel. Very passionate about them. 2 in the box is dropping soon. So we got 1 in this box that we want to share with you, and it's our build of the Ecto goggles, using primarily the GBFans kit that is out with the resin PVS5 replicas and the machined aluminum lenses, and the other odds and ends you can get as well. And then the Mack's factory dry rub labels that you could only get, pretty much Mack's is the only one that makes the dry rub labels right now, or the dry transfer, whatever you want to call them, for the goggles, and he makes them correctly, as we'll get into in a minute on what that means. Yeah, we were able to put together a great, really screen accurate kit using a lot of the photos from the reference library and screenshots, and I don't think there's really anything else out there on the market that you get commercially that comes near this, what you could pretty much end up doing yourself. So we'll take you through it really quick and how we did our build. We'll share some other places you could go for more instructions and links in order to get what you're going to need to round this out. But let's get right into it and check the sucker out. All right, we're going to do a little walkthrough of side by side just to go through what was standard, what kind of changes we made. Of course, these are the great resin frames from GBFans, and they're very accurate to the PVS5 night vision goggles that the on-screen versions are built on top of. You could also get these knobs from GBFans to cover up the little screw caps that are on there. Here we go. They're just on there from where you mount the goggles, so you don't have to do any additional work. You just kind of push them on and they will stay in place. From here, the strap we have is actually a little different. It's not going to be the one that AJ sells on the site. That version is probably more true to the PVS5, where it has the buckle at the top and the snaps at the side. This one from the screen version did not have a buckle at the top. It just has this, I want to say, hex head screw on here. This we got off of Etsy. Someone was making a run of these. I'll put a link up to his Etsy shop. I think they're pretty good. They're pretty accurate to the screen used version, and they still work with the snaps on the side. It was just the top here. In order to get this one off, we had to use a pair of pliers, very long handled pliers. I want to say they were about 9 inches long, and that extra torque and leverage there helped us to just crush the button head and then pull it out. What you don't want to do is destroy this frame by trying to edge it out with a screw or something like that, a screwdriver. So we were able to easily just crush the button head and then just lift it straight out as the bottom fell out of it. So that was the easiest way. This mounts underneath. There's a little, like a giant threaded washer for this to screw into. And then that's it. You get that nice polished finished look. This sticker over here is from Moby Sign Company. They have a nice matte sticker that you could put on the side here. It's an Etsy shop. I'll have a link. He has a lot of good stickers, actually. And you could just mount this right here. I think the matte look is probably most appropriate to the on-screen look. So it's just the instructions that pretty true to the original PVS5 night vision goggles. I'm going to spin it around to the front. Okay, so this plate, when you get it from AJ, these are machined aluminum lenses. These aren't plastic. This plate here is going to come essentially this aluminum color. It is not going to be painted. You're going to have to remove the lenses. On the inside, there's little a lot of star bit screws going all the way around. You could take them all out and you could remove it, so you just have the frame here itself, so you don't have risk getting any paint on the lenses or on the frames here. And we went with Tamara TS28. Get that in view here, the olive drab, and that is a near perfect match for the goggle frame there. So I think you'll be really happy with that. You can get that off of Amazon. I'll put a link up for that, and it kind of conveys this fluid look where it's all the same color. Now the stickers on here, we went with a metallic sticker for the warning label, which I think is pretty close to the screen accurate version. Again, you can get that from Moby or any other one from Etsy. A lot of people make it. We went with a gloss danger label here. I think this was one of the GBFans ones. And then I went with the just the clear lenses. I mean, it came with green lenses as well, but I think more to the screen accurate version was clear. And I'll show you another reason we went with clear in a minute toward the end. On this side, you can see the Japan is on here already. That's printed on the lenses as part of the ones you get from GBFans. At the top, you can see a couple of screws here. These are not coming standard on the frame. You're going to have to make these holes. You'll see some scenes in the movie, particularly where he's poking his head through the curtain, where you'll see these two little diagonal screws here, and I think we went with an M2.5 in the metric scale for those screws. That seems to be the right size. And then over here, if you look at the original PBS goggles, you will see that there's a plate up here that tells you the model number and stuff on that. They removed that from the film, but in some of the scenes, you could see these screws actually still there in the goggles. Let me get you a shot right here so you can see what I'm talking about. So you could actually still see those in there. So we wanted to replicate that look, and we think this really pulled it off accurately. I'm going to swing around to underneath. Do this. Okay, transitioning underneath here, and it's a little heavy. Bear with me for a moment. You can see right here, here's the dry transfer label right there for battery, and it's going to be facing away from the user. That's the proper orientation. Over here we have from GBFans the battery cover with the rubber strap. You could get an authentic vintage one if you want. This is just less messy. It's easier to put on there. All the holes are already drilled and cut, and it comes with the whole set. Over on this side, you see another dry transfer label for the on-off and pull IR, and then you have this little knob. Now, this knob is not the original PBS 5 knob, which I'll show you that in just a minute. It was not used in the original production. Unclear what, I mean, there were a lot of different shots. At one point it broke off, but it seems to be some kind of thumb screw or something. It looks very similar to this. Not exactly this. It's kind of hard because there was no really good close-ups of it. So best approximation, but it was not that black knob that came with it as standard. So you're going to have to get some thumb screw or some other custom thing to put on here. We went with this custom piece, and I'll show you why in just a minute. But that's just, you know, for your consideration there. That was what was put on here on the bottom, a little diversion from the standard PBS 5. Now, moving on to the side, and this is probably the most important side here, and it's because of the dry transfer labels here. These are the correct labels. You will see a lot of different producers, including Hollywood Collectibles Group when they put out their goggles a long time ago, used the wrong labels. They are using the one that looks like an envelope and the one that looks like a battery with a cross going through it, which belong on the Neutrino wand, but do not belong on the GB1 goggles. As you can see here in this production still, these are the correct labels. This one here was also used on the containment unit, the erase farbles. Mack is the only one that makes these in dry erase form. You can get stickers of these. Mobies will get stickers if you're more comfortable with stickers that you could order for the goggles. Now, those other ones with the envelope and the battery, those are on the Afterlife goggles, as you can see here. They are also on the Frozen Empire goggles, as you can see here, but they are not on the GB1 goggles. So while those do exist for different versions, they are not on this version. This was kind of a universal mistake. After one person did it, everyone seemed to do it. Spirit Halloween adapted it, and other versions adapted it. Well, I believe Mattel in their original goggles also adapted it for the Matty Collector's goggles. It just became the standard somehow, and I think it was because the picture was pretty blurry, or the whatever production still they were working off of, and it kind of looked like the ones from the Neutrino wand. And maybe that was just a mistake, that after one person did it, everyone assumed that was the way it was done, and then every other prop maker did it that way too. So these are the correct labels for the GB1 version goggles. And you can only really see them in a couple scenes. But yeah, this is where you get them from for the dry erase. I think it gives us this really nice sort of depiction here. It kind of looks like it's on an angle because the head's leaning forward here, but that's it. The other thing you're going to have to do on the side here is you'll notice that this extra snap here is silver. Now, when these frames come to you from GBFans, there will just be a hole here. There's no snap. But on the Ecto goggles, there was one additional snap right here, and it was not black like these other ones. You're going to have to add it. Now, if you are really confident in your ability to use a, I don't know what I call button press or a snap press or whatever, then go for it and put one in. I was concerned that I would crack this frame if I tried to do that. It's very hard to use one of those presses. It takes a lot of torque, a lot of upper body strength, and if you're not doing it right, you could definitely crack this frame, and then you're back to square one and out $100. So my suggestion is you could get these marine snaps off of Amazon, and they're designed to be used without a snap press. All they have is this little screw on here that fits perfectly in this hole. You just screw it in, and boom, you have your snap. It only costs about $6 for a box of these things. So very easy to do. Helps you finish the look and round it out. It's a very easy modification on here to bring this back to screen accuracy. And I totally think it's worth your time. So consider getting that. That will just make your life that much easier without having to crack this frame or have to, cut it up and have to do some touch-ups and getting it exactly this color. Even harder. So just something to consider. The last thing you got to worry about or you got to add is your padding. So there are no good production stills or any reference for what padding was used in this. Some people debate it was the original PVS-5 padding. Some people debate it was just some foam that was cut to form here. Some people debate it was padding from other goggles. No one really knows. So everyone has their own thing they put in there that they say is accurate, but there's no way to know for sure. So I just went with the original PVS-5 goggle padding. These snaps that are here actually are on the GBFans version line up perfectly with the original PVS-5 padding. There's snaps on the padding. It secures in. You don't have to worry about it. It's got a nice, neat, polished look here. This is leather. This is a vintage one, so you can see it's really deflated too. This is leather. I mean, if you try to use some foam, it's going to have like uneven cutting around it. I don't know how good you could cut your foam, but I just like this look. It's a really neat look. You don't really get to see this side of it in the movie anyway. So yeah, you could probably pick these up. I got one on eBay. It was like 30 bucks. There's a lot of like night vision or Army surplus resellers that you get it from. As long as you live in the US, you cannot get this outside of the US. They're not allowed to ship that out of the country. But you get these for PVS-5 goggles and they fit perfectly. So something to consider to finish off your build. I think it just gives it a nice smooth look and it's more comfortable to wear. So that is pretty much the look at all the components here for the Ecto goggle build. And now I'm going to show you a little additional feature that I added on here and go back to that switch we were talking about for the original PVS-5 goggles. All right, so what I was talking about before, and I regret not having it on hand at the time, this is the original knob from a PVS-5 night vision goggle set. So you can see it's black. It has this dial on here that perfectly lines up with everything underneath. And this was not used in the movie. So you can see, if you go look at some production stills, you'll see it's silver and it's not of this diameter. I think this might have been used in the GB2 goggles, but it was not used on the original. So this pretty much sat into this, what is a 10-position rotary switch. And this connected in here and essentially allowed you to, turn the goggles on and off. So what we did is we got this thumb screw on there and it's hollowed out and I have a little set screw in there because I just rigged up a little temporary light kit until I get a better one. Some people are going to make better ones, I know, probably more authentic to the film. So ours just kind of allows you to turn this on and you can see the night vision here. And then remember where I said, remember that pull IR? Well, I discovered with the rotary switch, if you actually pull the knob and turn, you get another spectrum. So have the IR spectrum on here, which is the red lights. So that's just why we decided to keep that. We might go with a different, more accurate thumb screw in the future, but we used one of these rotary switches that were original to the PVS-5 that has 10 positions on it. It allowed us to get multiple spectrums of light in there, although only one was used in the film. I think it's fun either way, just to throw an extra spectrum in there. So yeah, that does not come standard with anything. That is a custom light kit I made. I just got some green bulbs, I got some red bulbs, some little transistors, and wired it to a 9-volt battery set, and then it's all wired to that little to this little switch here. So that was really it. That was just some ingenuity to make a fun little light kit here, but just something you could do. There's plenty of space in there. We were able to fit this straight up in there and then connect the box off to the right. You can't even see it. It's in there. You can still wear this and everything, and it doesn't obstruct your view of looking out of these either. So just something you could do, something to think about, have a little fun, and customize it your own way. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this segment, taking a look at our build. We had a lot of fun with it. This is a pretty easy project. You get this done in about a weekend if you have all your parts. Well, maybe a little longer with dry time. If you were able to spray paint this ahead of time, you get it done on a weekend. But basically, not too difficult of a build. You just kind of need all your parts. There's a lot of reference photos out there where have links to how to get most of these parts, as well as kind of like an instructional build. We found some great ones on the GBFans forum that you can go by. All in, I think this was about $450 for all these parts here, between the most expensive parts, the machined lenses, the frames, and then you're going to have odds and ends like an additional head bracket there, and then the battery cover, the dry rub transfer, decals for Max, all that kind of stuff. It adds up, but $450 I don't think was bad, considering I've seen some on Etsy for like $350, and they're 3D printed. And they're very inaccurate, and they're just awful. Yeah, I mean, I think to get like a pretty close to screen accurate version for $450 is not awful, considering the Hollywood Collectibles Group one, which has a mistake, as we pointed out, is a lot more than that. So yeah, you could build your own for a pretty good price and still have a fairly accurate to screen version as well. So something to consider. I think they're really fun. They would enhance your costume. Just a little point here, these are about 4 to 5 pounds, so wearing them on your head all night or all day if you're trooping around is not going to be easy. This is a 10-pound weight holding this thing up. It kept falling over without it, so trust me. You can hang them off your key fob on your belt there, but have them on your head the whole time. You're going to feel it after a while. They're not like the Spirit ones that weigh nothing. These do have some weight to them, so just giving you that advance warning. I think they're awesome though. They're worth your time. They're a great addition and great accessory. And the 84 version is a tried and true classic, so definitely worth doing that kind of a build. Well, that's all for this time. We're going to have more Ghostbusters props this month. I don't want to ruin it, but it'll be a 84 and an 89 in the next one. And we're going to have other Halloween reviews, some newer products, some newer Halloween themed products as well. And we're going to have our standard reviews of other new products and some vintage. The 30th anniversary of the 1994 animated series for Fantastic Four. We just had a Fantastic Four reveals at Comic-Con this year in San Diego. I think it's a good time to do those. So it is an 85th anniversary for Marvel. So we'll be looking at that collection. It's not big. I think it was only about 29 or so figures in that, and one canceled figure in that collection. So we'll be taking a look at all of those. So yeah, tune back for that. Tune back for more. Like, subscribe, and follow. And we'll see you guys next time.